Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Recently, the CCP has made several very important moves in a very low-profile way. These moves are all related to the CCP's war preparation, including one, changing a wartime law that virtually gives the CCP army limitless power to override the civilian legal system. 2. Setting up national defense mobilization offices in all big and small cities throughout China. 3. Issuing a new reserve military service law, etc. But because these super important moves were all launched in a very low profile way, they have not received enough attention. However, they are too important to be ignored. So today I will talk about this one by one. And please do spread my video if you also think what I'm going to present is important. On February 24th, the CCP's mouthpiece People's Daily published a very short report about a meeting of the CCP's National People's Congress, which is supposed to be the lawmaking body of China. The third paragraph says, the meeting deliberated on the draft decision of the Central Military Commission on submitting for review the partial provisions of the criminal procedure law applicable to the adjustment of the military during wartime, and the request of the Central Military Commission. Wang Renhua, Secretary of the Political and Legal Affairs Committee of the Central Military Commission, gave an explanation. The report didn't give any details about the adjustment, and people later found another report on the website of the National People's Congress. This report is even shorter and has only 231 words. And the English translation of the full text goes like this, quote, in order to implement the spirit of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, improve the Chinese military's legal system with Chinese characteristics, guaranteeing the effective fulfillment of the new era's mission and tasks of the People's Army, and enhance its ability to win battles through legal systems. The 39th meeting of the 13th Standing Committee of the National People's Congress has decided to adjust the application of certain provisions of the criminal procedure law of the People's Republic of China during wartime by the People's Liberation Army. The army will follow the basic principles, basic systems, and basic procedures determined by the criminal law and the criminal procedure law of the People's Republic of China, adapt to the characteristics of criminal proceedings during wartime, protect the legitimate rights and interests of the parties involved in the proceedings, safeguard judicial fairness and justice, and adjust specific provisions of the criminal procedure law of the People's Republic of China related to jurisdiction, defense, and representation, coercive measures, fining, investigation, prosecution, trial, and execution. Specific provisions will be made by the Central Military Commission. This decision shall come into effect on February 25th, 2023, unquote. Well, have you worked out what this adjustment is? I must admit that I read the Chinese text many times, but I'm still confused by its vague wording. Somehow I believe that the CCP purposely made the entire wording very unclear so that it can be interpreted later in whichever way the CCP likes. But no matter how vague the language is, if we take all the useless sentences out and only look at the essence, this new decision basically says that when the army conducts criminal proceedings in wartime, it can make adjustments related to jurisdiction, defense, and representation, coercive measures, final investigation, prosecution, trial, and execution. And the final right to make specific judgments rests with the Central Military Commission. As Xi Jinping is the chairman of the PLA's Central Military Commission, the final say is up to Xi Jinping himself. As the decision doesn't say whether the adjustments only apply to military personnel or apply to both military personnel and ordinary citizens. As far as I understand, they can apply to everyone in China. So this equals the army will have the power to override the entire current legal system as soon as a wartime status is declared. For example, if someone posts an anti-war article on the internet, the army will have the power to arrest that person and put him in jail in no time, as all the procedures from filing a case to investigation, prosecution, trial, and execution are all under the control of the army. For me, this is what this new law means. And why would the CCP hastily introduce such a new law? There wasn't any waiting period. It took effect the next day after it was passed, which was on February 25th, 3 days ago. Many people believe that this is a clear sign that the CCP is gearing up its preparation for a war against Taiwan. It also means that the CCP is preparing for military control in the event of war. Some others say this new law could also be used for the domestic situation and maintain the CCP's regime, and there are a lot of conflicts happening in China now. In the meantime, this law can also be used to punish military personnel during wartime in case there is anyone who dares to betray the CCP. Another important move that the outside world failed to notice is that the so-called national defense offices have been set up throughout China recently. A search with the phrase National Defense Mobilization Office officially opens in Baidu can give us many results. Look at this. From the top to the bottom are announcements or news reports about the establishment of the National Defense Mobilization Office in Fujian Province, Shanghai City, Zhengzhou City, Yongyuan District of Zhengzhou City, etc., and Jinan City. Even in very small cities or the district of small cities, this kind of office was also established. For example, this report says that Laiwu District Defense Mobilization Office conducted post-holiday safety inspection activities. Laiwu District is only a district of Jinan City in Shandong Province. This report is about the establishment of the Defense Mobilization Office in Guazhou County, and its date was February 3rd. Frankly speaking, I had never heard of the name Guazhou and had no idea where this county was at all before I read this report. I later found out it was a county in Gansu province in northwest China. According to Chinese standards, it is a very small county and has only 129,000 people. The title of this report is Xintian County People's Air Defense Office and National Defense Mobilization Office officially inaugurated. The date of the report was January 10th this year. Again, I had no idea where Xintian County was. I searched for it and found that it is a county in Yongzhou City, Hunan Province in southwest China, with a population of only 340,000. Now, look at this. It is a report about how the National Defense Office in the Central District of Jinan City carried out national defense mobilization education activities in a school called Quanzhe School. You can see a PLA officer talking to the students. These photos are also from this report, showing how the students were trained to respond to air raids and sudden disasters. They were given air defense evacuation drills too. There are many more similar reports, and I can't present all of them here, so I'll stop here. Now, look at these two photos. The Chinese words on the big red screen say Cadres Conference of Shanghai Defense Mobilization Office, and the date was February 21st, 2023. According to my source, the theme of this meeting was how to transit the national economic system from peacetime to wartime status, involving industrial, commercial, agricultural, financial, medical, and health and equipment mobilization. In May last year, I obtained and translated a top-secret recording of the war mobilization meeting of the Southern War Zone of the PLA. In that secret meeting held in Guangdong Province on May 14th last year, it was definitely mentioned how to transit from normal times to wartime. In that 57-minute meeting, every aspect of war mobilization was discussed in detail. The top secret recording is also available on YouTube. I think the establishment of the National Defense Mobilization Office across China right now confirms that what was discussed last year was true, and this new move proves the content of the meeting. If you haven't read the script or watched the video, please go back to read or watch it. I will put links in the description bottle under this video. According to Chinese media reports, the CCP's National Defense Mobilization Department has transformed from a functional department under the General Staff Department to a large military region-level unit directly managing at least 28 provincial military districts and garrison commands. The provincial military district has 5 departments: the Emergency Response Command, the Military Department of the Local Civilian Party Committee, the Construction Department of Reserve Forces, the Conscription Department of the same level government, and the Coordination Department of Military-Civilian Integration. As the military department of the same level local civilian party committee and the conscription agency of the same level government, the mobilization function of the provincial military region system is very prominent. Right now, the CCP's national defense mobilization includes at least 7 aspects: the mobilization of armed forces, national economy, civil air defense, politics, science and technology, as well as strategic material reserves. In addition, mobilization efforts are also underway to strengthen information support, electromagnetic spectrum, meteorology and hydrology, mapping and navigation, medical rescue, and maintenance of high-tech equipment. We have already talked about the new reserve military service law that will take effect tomorrow, which is March the 1st. This new law virtually gives the CCP the power to force every Chinese person between 18 to 60 to serve as reserve personnel for the CCP. As we've already talked about the details on February 10th, I won't repeat those here. If you haven't watched that show, please go check it out. Various signs show that the CCP is already stepping up its military recruitment. This is the announcement on the PLS website saying that for the first time ever, the CCP's Navy is recruiting flight cadets from civilian college graduates. Both male and female students can apply. In the past, only military college graduates were qualified, so this means the CCP wants to have more candidates. A while ago, a friend of mine told me that his son in China told him that recruitment notices were posted at the gates of high schools and vocational high schools in Chibi City in Hubei province in China, and every student in the school was given a physical examination. At his son's school, there's even a PLA recruitment booth in front of the school gate. This is a post I saw today on Twitter. Someone said that he was just approached by someone in China, and that person said he needed to contact him for his son's military enlistment. And this person said, "Thank you, but my son isn't in China now, and he won't join the army. Our entire family has emigrated." Recently, on February 8th, the government website of Shayang County, Jinjiangmen City in Hubei province, published an announcement about punishing a youth called Zhang Jiahao for refusing to serve in the military. 22-year-old Zhang Jiahao got 9 punishments, including a fine of over 34,000 yuan. He was recruited on September 1st, 2022, but applied for discharge as he couldn't adapt to army life. He was also banned from leaving China for 2 years, receiving higher education or conducting business activities. A similar case appeared before. In 2021, Liu Shuai from Linzhang County in Hebei province was fined more than 46,000 yuan for the same reason. He was also banned from getting loans, becoming a public servant, or employee of state-owned enterprises or organizations, or pursuing further education at his previous Anhui Agricultural University. So from this, we can see that on the one hand, the CCP is aggressively recruiting soldiers, and on the other hand, it is punishing those who refuse to serve in the army. In fact, over the past years, the CCP has continued to make other military adjustments related to preparedness. In June of last year, the CCP's Central Committee issued a decision on adjusting the leadership system of reserve forces, which clearly stated that the reserve forces were fully incorporated into the military's leadership and command system, and that the dual leadership of military and local authorities was adjusted to centralized and unified leadership under the CCP's Central Committee and the Central Military Commission. On October 23, 2021, the Standing Committee of the CCP's National People's Congress decided to adjust some provisions of the National Defense Mobilization Law, the People's Air Defense Law, the National Defense Transportation Law, and the National Defense Education Law, etc. And which provisions were adjusted? There were items related to national defense mobilization, people's armed mobilization, economic mobilization, civil war defense, transportation war readiness, the leadership and management system, military civilian functional allocation work organization, and the National Defense Mobilization Resource Command and utilization, etc. And this decision came into effect on October 24th, 2021. The CCP's National Defense Mobilization Law was passed in 2010. It stipulates that during wartime, society, economic operations, energy supply, and other aspects must revolve around the war machine, and even personal assets may be requisitioned. In short, it is necessary to fully mobilize the country's manpower, financial resources, and material resources to strive for victory in war. And the losses suffered by the people in the name of war are not important at all. So, in conclusion, all the above information we presented give us the same impression. The CCP is aggressively preparing for war. Law preparations have been completed, and personnel preparations are actively underway. I know there are still a lot of people who don't believe the CCP dares to attack Taiwan or launch a war, but almost all the news pieces and information I presented today are publicly available. So I will let you decide how you would interpret these news pieces and information. Well, that's all for today. If you like my content, please help me spread my videos and get more subscribers. Please also consider going to my website at jenniferzengblog.com. That's jenniferzengblog.com. Signing up for a membership or making a donation to support my truth-telling efforts. After you become a member, you can read my scripts to save time if you don't want to watch the video. I always put all the links to the sources I use in my shows so that you can do your own further research. Thank you. See you.